Hello, everyone, and congratulations, we survived another week. And it is chapter, what are we on? 15 today, chapter 15, reading of my book, this one right here. Turn Your Magic All the Way Up, A Ridiculous Guide to Discovering Yourself After Narcissistic Abuse. Yep, still having a problem admitting that that's on Amazon. Although at this point, Bezos isn't even the one that's like top tier evil. But anyway, my book, I wouldn't be a published author if it weren't for Amazon. So, my book is available on Amazon and Audible version as well, read by me. Or you can just tune in here. I'm reading the thing for free every week. So, there's a soundtrack that goes with this because I think music is important. Hence, this entire chapter called Rock and Roll. The soundtrack is on Spotify, and I'll put the link to that as well as the link to where you can buy the book below in the description. Oh yeah, I wanted to say that last week's chapter on drugs, I forgot to mention a couple of things about narc number 3, mostly. One was that I told him that one of the things, which I think will come up in this upcoming chapter, is that I liked taking mushrooms and listening to music, and he thought that was selfish because I did it by myself. I didn't include him, which is like, so my choice to do what I want with my own drugs and my body and my experience is selfish because I don't think of you. What? And also, when I was, what I thought having a heart attack or whatever, when my arm was doing this, what was he doing the whole time? That I thought I was overdosing and about to die? Sitting beside me, watching TV, kind of looking at me like this every once in a while, and going back to TV, and what are you gonna do? Meanwhile, I'm fucking freaking out. That's a big red flag. Okay, onward and upward, people. Can you see it? Does it matter? What even is going on anymore? All right, let's do this shit. Chapter 15, rock and roll. As I lead with a song that's a country song. Not very rock and roll. Stay with me here. I like all kinds of music. What can I say? Song Just Drive by Aaron Kinsey. Here we go. Music. Music is my best friend. Music is life. There is nothing more I love in this world than driving with my windows down, blasting my music, and singing at the top of my lungs. It is the best kind of therapy. The Blue October album, I Laugh at Myself, truly sparked more than one of my awakenings. It accompanied me on the road trip I took to Big Sur after the breakup with narc number 2 in October of 2020. It was there again when I woke up to the reality that my dad really is a narcissist in December of 2021. And music just truly is my therapy. And that album is a powerful part of it. Music plays such an important part in my life that I couldn't imagine writing a book without having a playlist to accompany it. I really hope I can figure out a way to include this music with this book. Sidebar, I did, kind of. They really go hand in hand. And it would be incomplete without it. It just seemed like the most natural thing in the world to include music. I think more people should do it. Music evokes emotion, and by listening to the songs that I associate with each chapter, you can get a more personal glimpse into what I was feeling while I was writing like a maniac. I didn't even realize just how important music was to me until recently. While putting the pieces together about my abuse, it all made sense why I was a big fan of emo music, even though I was slightly older. And subsequently, country music, which I lovingly call farm emo. These songs were always driven by strong emotions and great storytelling. Each time a new song comes on, I am transported into that world where I'm living that story and feeling those emotions as if the person they're singing about is me. Combined with mushrooms, songs feel like a roller coaster ride for me. I physically, psychologically, emotionally experience everything in the song as a ride, complete with all the dips and turns and stomach lurches. It's a fucking amazing experience, and I love that I don't just hear the music, I experience it. Back in the day, people used to pick on emo kids for being just that, overly emotional. I think I related, even though I was in my 30s when emo got big, because my emotions were so far shoved down and I was so over-medicated that it was the nearest thing I had to feeling at the time. My subconscious was trying to wake me up. If I go back even further, I remember as a child sitting in my room singing made-up songs. I remember my grandma catching me singing to myself once, watching me from the other room with a smile on her face. I'm sure it was adorable, but to me, it was so embarrassing that I just never did it again. I was always too shy, too self-conscious, painfully so, and too afraid of judgment, so I just stopped. Song I'm Alive by Kenny Chesney and Dave Matthews. I did, however, love singing along to Broadway soundtracks such as Phantom of the Opera and Cats behind my closed bedroom door. I dreamed of one day being able to sing the soundtrack of Cats to my own kitties in my own home, which is a dream I happily fulfill today. Growing up, on the weekends when my mom was in cleaning mode, she would put on the Pointer Sisters or Thriller or Xanadu or Grease or John Denver or Peter, Paul, and Mary. I loved them all. My dad liked harder stuff like Black Sabbath, but he also liked funny stuff like the Dr. Demento comedy radio show. He and I also had the tradition of listening to the James Bond soundtrack when we drove up to go camping at the Frog Jump every year. In my late teens and into my 20s, I was a barrel racer and a country girl. I would go to the country bars and I loved to dance. If it weren't for all the Trump supporters, I would still like to go and dance, but as usual, other people are enough to keep me away. People can be terrible, and I prefer my own company these days. There are not many liberal cowgirls and cowboys out there, I fear. Hopefully that changes someday because I really do miss two-stepping and jitterbugging. Although I think all they do these days is line dancing, which makes me sad. I will always have a soft spot for country music, even though so many people hate it. At least 90s country music. I always felt that sex should have music on in the background, too. It always felt strange without it, and growing up in the 90s, it was usually Enigma to set the mood. Cigarettes After Sex is also a good sexy time band. I went to many concerts and had a ball at all of them. When I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma in 2005, I was dating a guy with a Sirius XM radio subscription. It was there that I first heard Into the Ocean by Blue October and The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars. I remember driving to the music store to buy, I'm that old. I remember driving to the music store to buy the corresponding CDs for each of those bands and listening to them on repeat for days. This is way before Spotify. I then returned to the store again and purchased all their other CDs. I fell in love with both bands. I got so heavy into 30 Seconds to Mars, keep in mind this is 2005, so they only had a couple of albums. I don't like them anymore. That I joined their fan page online and made friends with a bunch of cool new people. The theme for the band at the time was very Greek-based, so I chose the handle Athena, goddess of war. The online community was super active, so I was able to chat with other fans online every single day, all about music, our love for the band, and our interpretations of their songs and meanings. For a time, a few of us gathered and followed the band around from one town to the next, across Texas, and even into Colorado and Iowa. I had to return to work, but a few of my friends even followed them to Florida and to California. This was back when I lived in Texas. It was a fun time, full of memories of driving and singing and waiting in line in front of the venue gate in the freezing cold so that we would be the first ones through and the first ones on the rail when the bands came out. We even made friends with one of the roadies named Dave, who graciously let us warm up in his 18-wheeler a few times at different venues. I got recruited to help with the merch table at their concert in Fort Worth, Texas, because they recognized my face from other cities. We were not groupies. We did not want to sleep with Jared Leto. Now, his drummer brother Shannon, maybe. We were all in our 30s when most of their fans were in their 20s. But for some reason, their music resonated with us, and that was the only reason that we were there, the music. Song Crazy Angel by Kill Hannah. A band called Kill Hannah opened for 30 Seconds to Mars, and I fell in love with them as well, promptly buying their entire CD catalog and loving each one. Still do. I had a few awesome experiences with this band too. One being a very intimate concert in Tulsa where the lead singer, Matt Devine, allowed us to sit on the stage with the band as they played. Another time in Fort Worth, Texas, my friend had won VIP backstage passes in a radio contest, and she graciously took me and her daughter to go. I don't remember why, but they, the radio station, convinced Matt to give my friend's daughter an emo haircut right then and there if she would allow it as a stunt for the radio. Her daughter was so over the moon at the idea of the lead singer to her then favorite band cutting her hair that she did not hesitate to say yes. He actually did a pretty good job. I hope that the band members remember that experience because I sure do. It was a lot of fun. When Kill Hannah decided to hold their final concert in Chicago on December 19th, 2017, you can bet I was there. I made a good friend at that show who had flown in all the way from Australia just to see them. But I found out he's a narcissist, so we don't talk anymore. Again, nothing but good memories, and I fell in love with Chicago, which just happens to be my mom's hometown. Blue October is a band from Houston, Texas, so I got to see them quite a bit when I lived in Oklahoma and Texas. One particularly memorable outdoor concert in Tulsa, while singing Into the Ocean, right when he sang the lyrics, "Let the rain come down," it literally started raining. And then it stopped raining at the exact moment that the song ended. It was so magical. Oof, I'm getting goosebumps right now remembering it. It was so magical, and I felt honored to be there to experience it. I also have a not so good story about Blue October that I feel obligated to share as well, even though it was kind of a shameful moment for me, but I'm all about owning your shame, right? So here we go. I got what I deserved, but it did make for a great story. So my friend S and I bought seats at the House of Blues concert Blue October was having in Dallas. He and I loved all Blue October songs, except for one that we thought was just fucking terrible. The song is called Jump Rope, and it's supposed to be sweet and about his daughter, but neither one of us is a fan of it. When the band played the first notes to open that song at the concert, S and I both ducked our heads and put our middle fingers in the air. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but Honestly, I didn't think much of this action at the time. I didn't really think that the lead singer could see much of the crowd, let alone take the time out to notice our piddly little antics. I was mistaken. After the song ended, Justin Furstenfeld, the lead singer, called security and had us escorted out of the venue. Oops, my bad. He did not appreciate being flipped off. I can't imagine why. So, S and I did the only thing you could do in an instance like that. We went to another bar and got hammered. It was a bar in Dallas that S was familiar with, but I was not. S also had friends there, whereas I did not. He had driven us there, and I had left my car at the House of Blues venue. I ended up getting so smashed that I went to the ladies' room, where the bathroom doors were floor to ceiling, hugged a toilet, and then promptly passed out. When I came to, it was about 3 a.m, and no one was in the club. No one. I walked around to various doors, checking them all. All of them were chained shut. Oh, shit. Song Roar by Katy Perry. I was about to be panicking about what the fuck I was going to do when I heard voices coming from a back room. Whew, there were still 2 employees left, counting money and continuing the closing process. And I tried to be gentle when I said hello, but I scared the shit out of them and they both jumped. I explained my situation. They apologized profusely, decided that checking every bathroom door from then on was mandatory, and called me a cab to take me back to my car at the House of Blues. To this day, I'm a little bit miffed at my friend S for not checking on me to find out where I was or if I was okay. For all he knew, I might have been abducted and being raped and murdered. But in the end, all is well. And it made for an entertaining story where I got served some karmic justice for being a dick to the lead singer of one of my favorite bands. One day, maybe I'll get the chance to apologize to them for not being more considerate, especially after their most recent album got me through the hardest times of my life. Even though I suspect the lead singer himself is probably a narcissist, judging by the documentary I watched and some of his songs and some of his exes. Anyway, I respect him and his talent enough to want to apologize for my inconsideration and let him know just how much his music really does mean to me, narcissist or not. On November 11th, 2020, 11/11, I got a tattoo of Blue October's logo, a red watercolor heart with a black X on it, with a black X over it on my left wrist. This was shortly after my breakup with number 2. It's very symbolic and a good reminder to always protect my heart. While still living in Oklahoma, my friends down in Fort Worth were pretty good friends with a local band called Miser, whose cover of the Cranberries song Zombie was a big hit on local stations. I often drove down to attend Miser's concerts with them and followed them to Los Angeles when they were trying to get a record deal. They did end up getting offered a deal, by the way, but the lead singer decided that just wasn't the path he wanted to take and became a teacher instead. No more Miser. Sad face. Again, we weren't groupies trying to sleep with anyone. We genuinely loved the music. Very almost famous-like, minus the sex. For some reason, while I was married in Texas, I got out of music completely. I replaced it with over 30 different podcasts, mostly about true crime or wrongful convictions, and some about politics. I don't really know why I let music fall by the wayside, but it's almost like I forgot about it. I blame being over-medicated on the antidepressants for this happening as well. I had forgotten how much joy music brought me, and its absence in my life didn't help my depression and lack of connection. When I moved back to California, I rediscovered music. I was able to turn it up as loud as I wanted in my own apartment and listen to whatever I wanted without judgment. It made me so insanely happy. Narc number 1 was blessed with a phenomenal singing voice, which he used for theater. He had also previously owned a karaoke business. You know how narcissists are, anything for attention and grabbing the spotlight, at least the grandiose ones. I had always wanted to try karaoke, but was far too self-conscious to do it. After meeting Narc number 1, I challenged myself to get over that fear and to get up there and sing in front of people. My first experience was singing You in Your Hand by Pink. When I was through, I had a girl come up to me and tell me that it was a hard song and the best cover she had ever heard. It was very kind of her to say that, and it sticks with me to this day. It was a great bump to the old self-esteem. I loved to sing in the shower, and Narcs number 1 and number 2 both commented on how they loved to listen to me sing. This filled my heart. Maybe I was an okay singer after all? I am currently taking voice lessons and entertaining all my daydreams. It is making me so happy. I'm no longer taking lessons, but I did learn that I can sing 2 octaves, which she said was rare, but it was fun. Song, Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys. I'm hoping when COVID is finally gone that I can do more of it. Singing, I mean. I have a goal set for myself to sing live on a stage in front of a crowd one day, even if it's just as a backup singer somewhere. I often like to push myself past my fears, like the one time I tried bungee jumping, or when I landed a role in a stage play, or how I used to be terrified of whitewater rafting and now I love it. I mentioned earlier that everything you ever desire is on the other side of fear. So I will continue to keep pushing myself past what is only my own emotions limiting my dreams. I hope you decide to do the same. Narc number 2 and I had a particularly special bond when it came to music. We spent a lot of time driving around in the car singing along with the radio. This was during COVID, after all. There wasn't a whole lot else to do. But even before that hit, we did this. It was a bonding experience, trauma bonding experience. We spent a lot of time driving around in the car, singing along with the radio. It felt so special to me. Another realization of just how important music is in my life. When Narc number 2 and Narc number 3 started the devaluing phase of our relationships, both would tell me that they thought my taste in music was shit. Both hated that I listened to country music. Whether true or not, they used my love of music against me, trying to hurt me by criticizing something they knew that I adored. I found Spotify shortly after Narc number 2. That has been my greatest joy over the last few years, and I have cultivated playlists to suit every mood. I've got sad, happy, fired up, aka pissed off, redneck shit, sexy time, sappy love stuff, trippy, rock. I now have a couple of others. One is called I Bite. I also have my book playlist. I also have my next book playlist going. Yeah, I got a lot of playlists. And now the playlist for this book as well. Turn Your Magic All the Way Up. In creating all my playlists, they serve as the soundtrack to my life. And it's why I feel it was incredibly important to include one for my book. After all, music is my joy. Music is my therapy. Music is my roller coaster ride anytime I want it. Music is my life. While I know that my taste in music will not appeal to everybody, the songs that I chose to include here are good indicators of my emotions as I wrote this all down. For anyone like me who loves music and wants the full emotional experience of this book, I felt that writing it without a soundtrack just didn't fit. I'm hopeful that this starts a trend. I love nothing more than getting in the head of those I respect or want to learn more about, like authors of books I love. And really, there's no better way to learn about somebody than to listen to the music that they associate with. I have hand-chosen the songs here to accompany the ride. I really hope that you're like me, sitting in the very last seat at the end to get the best whip effect and the most speed buildup. Hands in the air, singing aloud, allowing your emotions to take you on the ride of your life. And I hope you enjoy it. All right, guys, next week, and girls, when I say guys, please know that's like saying dudes. It means all y'all. Chapter 16, next week, Animals, Nature, and Empaths. And again, there's 19 chapters, so we're almost at the end. Hope you stay tuned, subscribe, like, share. Get the word out there about narcissists, because apparently there's a war going on. They want empathy to be a sin. So that means we double down. We double down on the love, empathy, and compassion, because it's narcissist versus empath out there, and we got no other choice, baby. Love them to death. All right, see you next week. Bye.